Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally unexpected. Corporate quality management meets ancient wisdom. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. What on earth do sterile corporate process maps have to do with profound spiritual philosophy? Well, I absolutely love it when two completely different worlds collide to create this perfect aha moment, and that is exactly what we've got on the agenda today. So let's just jump right in.
To kick things off, I want you to just ground yourself in your physical senses for a second. Think about sitting in a room with a running air conditioner. You could feel that cold air on your skin, you can hear the hum of the fan, you can see the little LED light on the display, or actually just look at a light bulb glowing above you right now. It gives you this direct, tangible benefit that you experience right there with your senses. But here's the big question for today's explainer. What does that physical experience of a running AC unit or a glowing light bulb have to do with the Bhagavad Gita? Like, how do we possibly connect our modern appliances to the fundamental elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, and space?
Well, to bridge that massive gap, we're going to use a pretty standard quality management framework called SIPOC. If you've ever survived a marathon corporate operations meeting, or maybe dabbled in Six Sigma, you probably know this one really well. It stands for supplier, input, process, output, and customer. Basically, it's how businesses track how a raw material becomes a finished product. But to unlock today's spiritual concept, we actually need to reverse engineer the whole thing. We're going to flip it into COPIS. That's customer, output, process, input, and supplier. So we're starting at the very end of the line with us, the customer, and we're going to slowly peel back the layers of reality.
But right before we trace those steps backwards, we need to understand the philosophical problem we're actually trying to solve here. Over in chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks this incredibly tricky question. He essentially asks, what is the better way to visualize and pray to God? Should we worship the physical form or the formless? Arjuna really thought the reply would be straightforward, kind of like a simple choice between A or B. I mean, why worship a specific, tangible thing when there's this massive, formless universe out there? Or on the flip side, how can we possibly relate to something we can't even see?
So Arjuna's dilemma actually breaks down into two distinct concepts, sagun and nirgun. On the one hand, we have sagun. This is the physical form. It's visible, it's tangible, and you can interact with it using your human senses. Then, on the other hand, we've got nirgun, which is also known as nirakar. And this is the formless, invisible, abstract reality. It's the ultimate source, sure, but you absolutely cannot touch it or see it. Arjuna is basically asking which path is superior. And to really grasp the brilliant answer that Krishna provides, we're going to walk through our reversed corporate framework. Yep, our COPIS model.
All right, let's start our COPIS journey at level 1, which is honestly the most relatable level. C is for customer. This is you just looking at the light bulb, the fridge, or the air conditioner. Imagine a child turns on a light bulb and suddenly the dark room is bright. That child might metaphorically or even literally say, "Thank you, light bulb," right? Because the bulb is giving the benefit. It's right there in front of them. In our spiritual analogy, this is the worship of sagun. It's the simple, beautiful worship of the immediate form. You are recognizing and appreciating the physical object that's directly interacting with your senses. But as you grow older and understand a little bit more about how the world actually works, your realization deepens. So let's move to level 2. O is for output. You suddenly realize the light isn't just magically coming from the bulb itself. The bulb is literally just the endpoint of electricity coming from your local neighborhood substation, maybe like an 11 kV substation, which is then fed by a massive 132 kVA transmission grid. The output of that entire sprawling electrical distribution system is what actually makes the bulb glow. You've just stepped past the immediate physical form to see the larger network working right behind it. And then your realization goes even higher. You look past those transmission lines, and we arrive at level 3. P is for process. I mean, where did that grid get the electricity from? It came from a thermal power station. Now you're looking at the actual mechanics of generation. You realize there's this massive industrial process happening. Water is being heated by thermal energy, steam is being generated, that steam is activating a giant turbine, and that spinning turbine is producing the electrical energy that feeds the grid that eventually lights your bulb. It's like you're peeling back the layers of how this energy is truly manifested.
But wait, we aren't done yet. Let's keep reverse engineering this thing. Level 4 is I, and that's for input. If you really think about it, that incredible thermal power plant is entirely useless on its own. The whole process relies completely on the raw materials being fed into it, the input. Specifically, coal to burn, and water to boil. Now your realization has stripped away the technology entirely. You're forgetting the bulb, you're forgetting the transmission lines, you're forgetting the steel turbines. You are looking at the raw elemental inputs that make the energy possible in the very first place.
And finally, we reach the ultimate realization at the very end of our COPIS chain, level 5. S is for supplier. Because who supplies the coal and the water? Nature. The water flows from the rivers, and the coal is extracted from the Earth's crust. Nature itself is the ultimate supplier. You've literally gone from staring at a glowing glass ball in your living room all the way back to recognizing the invisible, profound forces of the earth and the rivers. You've moved from the specific physical form, the Sagun, to the ultimate formless provider, the Nirgun.
And this just beautifully ties our entire framework together. Notice how the corporate COPIS layers align perfectly with the physical analogies and map directly to the spiritual layers. We start at the customer with the light bulb. That's Sagyun, the physical form. Then, as we move backward through the process, like the power station, we achieve this higher realization of how things are connected. And finally, when we reach the supplier, nature itself, we've arrived at Nirgun, the formless ultimate reality. Layer by layer, as your understanding grows, you see completely past the surface of the physical world.
So, getting back to the crucial point, how does Krishna actually answer Arjuna's question in chapter 12? Well, he says that worshipping the form, the Sagun, the light bulb, is perfectly valid and it's actually much easier. It's deeply accessible to us because we're human beings and we're naturally bound by our physical senses. But reaching the formless, the Nirgun, the ultimate natural supplier, that requires a much higher, much tougher level of understanding. It takes immense mental and spiritual effort to look at a running air conditioner and genuinely recognize the ancient rivers and the Earth's crust that are actually powering it.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. This entire framework challenges us to look deeper at the world around us. It asks us how far back we're willing to trace the source of our comfort, our energy, and honestly, our existence. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. In your own life, whatever your beliefs may be, are you just thanking the light bulb, or are you doing the hard work to recognize the river that powered it? Think about that reverse process map the next time you flip a switch. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.